like it.
It
All
just
right,
depends on the type of bunker it is.
Yeah, this one looks a
Right.
little
rough.
Yeah,
It looks rough, but I promise
like
you the sand is still pretty fluffy.
looks like a municipal.
So you get some real feel course conditions here. So when it comes to fairway bunkers, there's really not too many ways to go about it. There's kind of just like a simple kind of steps we can go through. So the first step we want to make sure is that our ball placement is actually going to be a little further back in our stance than normal. What we want to make sure is that the club doesn't bottom out too soon. So the further up we play it, we tend to actually make contact with the sand first because it's not exactly where the club should be making contact. We want it to be a little further back. That way we make sure that the bounce of the club, which is this, the sole, is coming in on an angle where we don't actually skip off of it, but we actually get the leading edge to dig under the ball. So after we kind of establish our ball position, which is going to be a little front of center, we need to make sure we choke up a little bit. We want the club to be a little shorter. Basically, any way we can make sure we don't make contact behind the ball, the better. So we're going to choke up a little bit. Next thing we want to make sure is that we actually dig in. We're not going to dig in a ton like we would in a greenside bunker, but the goal here is to make sure that we can get as level with the golf ball as possible. So if the ball is above my feet, or I'm in a stance like this, I want to make sure I dig in real hard with that left foot to try and get as level as possible. All right, and after we do that, all we have to do is just make a normal swing. There's nothing different than hitting off of a fairway except for ball position, and we're choking up. So we're digging in, we're making sure we're level, we choke up a little bit, and first swing of the day, fairway bunkers, not going to be that much fun, but we'll see.
I've got faith, Nick.
As long as we choke up, life should be good. So we dig in, choke up ball position a little further back than normal, and we can make decent contact. Actually wasn't half bad.
So you figure that's maybe 10 yards shorter than a normal shot for you?
Yeah, so kind of basic rule of thumb, when you're in a fairway bunker, what's the one goal?
Get out.
To get out. So if you have to deal with a lip or anything like that, I'm typically not going for the green. I want to make sure I can get it out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the furthest you could possibly hit it, but let's make sure we get it out. My suggestion out of here is to kind of don't use woods, hybrids sometimes, but if you can find a comfortable iron, for me, if I ever get in a situation like this, 7 or 8 iron tends to be my favorite. Just comfortable clubs. Sand wedges, pitching wedges, especially if you're trying to make full swings in here, can be a little more difficult. Most clubs tend to want to dig. We want to make sure that we actually kind of just skim the sand and slide over. So let's hop in here and we'll go through. Yeah, sure.
Described it as a different kind of bunker. What kind of bunkers are there at one versus another? This is
So fairway bunker, so anything that's not green side. So if it's not next to the green, anywhere, so like on one, there's bunkers to the left before you make the 90-degree turn to the first hole.
are the conditions different in the bunker?
Typically not. I think ideally, in a perfect world, you'd have it a little more firm. In a fairway bunker, it makes it easier to get out.
Which I would say in general ours are, because that's, we're doing the bunker project next year, so right now they're still a little more firm than the green sides. So that actually helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And if there was standing water in that one, I could move it back, lateral.
So you can. So if there's standing water in this bunker, your first choice is to try to find a spot inside the bunker where there is no
Okay.
standing water.
And that doesn't cost me a stroke.
It doesn't
Correct.
cost you a stroke.
Okay.
What if there is a spot right here, but when you're bringing your head back, you're gonna hit this. Can you then step out?
So in terms of, you mean the club?
Yeah, let's
Club
say
hits
like
that?
if you're right here,
Yep.
that's the closest spot available.
Mhm.
That's in your backswing. That's gonna make you
So unfortunately, golf does
doesn't
not.
care.
Yeah, kind of.
They don't care.
That's an interesting way to put it. But yes, as long as you can get a clean lie, if it restricts your swing, if it's not man-made, you're not going to be able to get relief from it. Unfortunate. I wish
All right.
you could.
So
Who's feeling brave?
Okay.
She's already in the
She's
bunker.
up there. Do it. Go for it, Veronica.
More when you're in the, let's say you're in the downhill part.
Yeah, so this is
That's tricky getting
kind of
out.
where I talked about we need to make sure we get as level as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So if, say I'm in a position like this, I know we talked, I don't know, what was it, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did the side hill.
Shoulders,
And
yeah.
Side hill.
so the goal is to get my shoulders in line with the slope and swing with the slope. Now, obviously, if I had a situation where I'm like this is the only way I can make a stance. What's going to happen? I'm going to have to go down after it.
Yeah.
And this is somewhere where you try to take a more lofted club. But there's other options. You could always go that way, or if you're comfortable with it, you can go this way. But I always find the path of least resistance. So here,
So why a more lofted club?
so more lofted club because you need to make sure you actually can get down and under the golf ball with some loft. Because if I come in here with a 7-iron and hit the shot,
And all of a sudden, because you're leaned that way, that 7-iron is like a
That's where it's
5-iron.
going.
absolutely,
Yep.
because you're de-lofting the club.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you come in with something with more loft here.
Okay.
Yep.
But always path of least resistance.
Okay.
Would you rather hit 2 out of here or 1 from here and 1 from over there?
Yep.
1 over there is not so bad,
Yeah,
right?
I was like, is this a trick question?
Yeah.
Well, what are we? We're greedy golfers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're greedy. We're golfers.
Gotta
We're greedy.
save them strokes,
We want to
baby.
make sure that we can
Smart
get
golf.
as far as we possibly can every swing. I understand, but sometimes you got to play smart.
Yeah, please smart golf.
So who is up for the challenge?
I'll try it.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Because you're in the sand all the time.
That's right.
See?
All right. So what do you have for a club?
My 8-iron.
An 8-iron.
I've used a 7, but I didn't think
I use 7 usually.
So what's something we really need to make sure we do? We dig to get level, right?
Well, usually I try and establish my grip before I get in because I'm not
Okay.
not allowed to touch the sand.
Good
So
point.
I try and get my club ready before I.
So the first, so
Get in
if that's how we're going to approach it, we need to make sure we choke up first then. Very nice.
Good.
Good job.
Good. You want to do one more? Let's do one more, and then, like Nick said, just hold the club a little lower. Make the same swing, just so grip down a little bit, because you made a perfect swing,
This is
and just
probably
call a
one
little
of
bit
the
of
rare
sand
cases
first.
Where if you hit it thin, you're going to be kind of happy.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Ball.
it's not. You got to pick it to get a distance.
There you go.
Oh,
Even better.
great sound.
Yep.
Good job.
So the only difference, she made 2 good swings. The only difference was the second one, she was holding it, maybe a ½ inch to an inch lower to account for her feet being kind of ground down in there. That was perfect.
Love it.
I'm always here anyway.
Everybody will get a chance. But I do say when hitting out of fairway bunkers, just find a comfortable club to get out.
Absolutely. And I like Nick's comment about sometimes the wedges like to dig more, so you don't necessarily want to use a wedge out of here. Really good.
Okay.
Nice out.
Really good. You should just aim for bunkers.
Where's the?
You know I should just find someone out.
She just disturbed the sand in her backswing. That's okay now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So what you can't do a full Patrick Reed. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody saw
Yeah.
that.
Yes, we did.
Where he had a situation like this and he took a practice stroke and moved some sand that way and
Oh
Yeah,
no,
he did
see,
it.
I
moved some
was
sand
no.
that way and man, I got a
Yes.
nice lie now.
Yeah.
But on your takeaway, you are allowed to brush some sand as long as you're not doing it intentionally. Just
Nice.
basically, if you brush the sand, commit to the shot.
That's awesome.
So,
I like that.
can I
That's
step in
good.
there?
Yes,
Because I have something on the brain.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So this is what I normally do, okay? Just kind of get a swing down.
Okay.
And I'm told I can't do that.
Sure you can. You just can't. You just can't take any sand with you.
Yeah, you can't touch sand when you do that, but as long as you...
Sand.
Yeah.
You're golden.
But I take my warm-up swings and
Sure.
then I go. Okay.
And I'm sure that wasn't anybody we know.
No. Not even here.
So ball position, middle-ish. That looks a little too far forward. So there you go.
Good.
Perfect.
I'm on this. Okay.
There we go.
Nice. As you went for the next level expert ball above her feet there too. Good job.
Yep, make sure the ball position's good, and then good swing. Even better.
Yeah.
See, fairway bunkers are easy.
Now that we know what to do,
Absolutely.
Piece of cake.
it's time to stop the video.